And my team is probably the best team I've ever seen assembled in boxing, and we depict everything that's going to happen in every single fight so far, and it's happened, and I'm mentally prepared, and I don't cut a single corner. You know, when I'm in training camp, if the cameras aren't there, if no one's around, I'm still doing all the things, even if my coaches aren't motivating me to do it. I don't take a second off, let alone a day off.
You've been dedicated, and I think a lot of people are starting to show that, are starting to see that from you now, the dedication and the training that you're actually putting in. With that being said, Tyron is saying that he's going to knock you out, that he feels that you're not up to, I guess, his par, like based on the competition that he's had in the past. Like, what do you make of that? You're coming in with a guy who's seen as one of the greatest UFC welterweights in the world. Obviously, this is like a good chance for you to prove people, like, hey, no, I can really fight amongst a guy who's a live dog in there.
Yeah, look, I think I'm exposing the UFC a bit with their striking capabilities. He's fought the best in the world in the UFC, but that's not boxing. You know, people think they're very similar sports, which they kind of are, but it's really like relating swimming to basketball. It's two very different things. Boxers are more efficient, more precise, more conservative with their energy. You know, scoring points. It's just a completely different ball game, and a lot of people don't really understand that. They just take it at face value, which is this is a fight. It's not that. He's coming into my territory, and as crazy as it sounds, I'm a much better boxer than him, even though he's been doing it for 5 times as long. And yes, he's fought Kamaru Usman. Yes, he's fought Gilbert Burns, but that's not Jake Paul. You know, I will finish him unlike those guys, and then people are going to come back and watch this interview and be like, holy shit, this kid is crazy. He predicted the future, and, you know, what the fuck is going on? And what the fuck is in the milk in Ohio?
Will you ever grapple, though? Will you ever get into the MMA side of stuff?
Maybe. I think there's an itch there. You know, not anytime soon, but it would be fun to go back in and wrestle and maybe throw some submissions.
You know, I asked Tyron, like, what happens if you press him? You're the bigger guy. You have a lot of physical advantages in the fight. And he says, you know what, I kind of do expect him, but is that more advantageous for you to press someone like him, to smother him so he can't get his punches off on him?
Yeah, I'm coming out hot. Like, I'm going to go out there and finish the fight early, press him, put him on his back foot, be the aggressor, come forward.
Because you got to bully the bully. Like, you can't let them come to you. You got to make him respect you, but also impose yourself on him.
Well, exactly. And, you know, all he has really is that overhand right. So I'm fighting a one-trick pony.
When you connect with him, do you feel that at this point, like, he just can't take shots like that anymore, given the wars he's been through?
I think so, but also, like, when he feels that first crack, I love seeing in my opponent's eyes the oh shit moment. I saw it in all 3 of my pro fights. That holy shit, this kid can crack. I saw it in Ben Askren's eyes. We start going out there in the first round, pop, pop, boom, and he's like, I see it in his eyes. He flies back and he's like, oh my god, I'm fighting the fucking animal. And then boom, he's on the canvas 10 seconds later. So it's gonna be a rude awakening for him.
The tattoo, do you think he'll go through with it, Jake?
I think he might bitch out.
Yeah.
We've got a couple more minutes up here with Jake.
Jake, can you tell me more about you wanting to fight Canelo in 3 years?
Yeah. Look, if Billy Joe Saunders, who fights like a wild chicken, can go in there and get a payday and fight Canelo and last that many rounds, or Yildirim, the Turkish warrior, can go in there and last 3 rounds, 9 minutes. The guy, Yildirim, didn't throw a single fucking punch. I'm a much better fighter than both of those boxers, and I'm bigger, faster, stronger, more athletic. So if those guys can go in there and hang in there with Canelo, can Jake Paul in 3 years go 12 rounds with him and beat him? We'll see. We'll see. Don't put it past you, because remember, you all were the same people that laughed 18 months ago when I said, oh, I'll fight Conor McGregor, and no one thought it was possible. And now it's like, look at it, he can't even beat a 155-pounder. So it seems as if I'm predicting the future, and I think Jake Paul versus Canelo, not only is it a smart business decision, but I will perform better than the Yildirim Turkish warrior who couldn't even throw a fucking punch.
Jake,
the first one, you just kind of heard it, then just started the "I'll beat your ass" kind of chant. This time he thought about it a lot, and he kind of called out like, "Man, this guy doesn't have confidence." Did you see that both times? Is that the reaction you got from that?
He's talking so much until the bets come out. You know, he's saying he's going to beat me. He's saying he's going to knock me out. Then all of a sudden it's like, bet your money, silence. Okay, bet a tattoo, silence. Asking the crowd if he should do it. If he showed his hand, you know, and I think I'm in his head. You know, I think the pressure will get to him, and the pressure will crack him. This is the biggest fight of his life, and there's hundreds and hundreds of MMA fighters who are counting on him to knock me out, and I don't think he's ever dealt with pressure like that before.
Randy Couture came out, Hall of Fame UFC fighter, and he was saying, he was like, man, if it has to be Jake Paul, the one that makes the noise about the money and the pay scale, then so be it. You know, he's kind of the guy to hold the mantle. How important is that to you to really better the pay for these guys?
It's very important. You know, Goldman Sachs just came out with a study that UFC fighters get 10% of their earnings that the whole UFC gets. You know, other leagues like the NBA, the NFL, they get 50%. Fighters are putting their life on the line. Chris Weidman snapping his shin in half. Fighters deserve more, and look, a lot of people are scared of Dana White. I don't give a shit. He's out there, I said it 10 seconds ago, he's out there bragging about winning $7 million on blackjack while his fighters are starting GoFundMe pages. So something needs to change. The fighters are the content. The fighters are the ones that are making the show, and I think the fighters just deserve more.
How do you like Puerto Rico, man?
Puerto Rico is the best.
There have been, I've heard people say Jake Paul's got this message about fighter pay, but maybe you're not the right person. You're the wrong person with the right message. What would you say to people who think that you're not exactly the right spokesman to be speaking for UFC fighters?
I'm not a spokesman. Like, I'm not trying to be, but who else is? Like, when has anyone ever talked about fighter pay and made it this big of a point? So I guess I'm that person now, but it's just something I'm passionate about. Like, I'm not trying to be a hero or anything like that, but like, if something doesn't make sense to me, I'm gonna call it out.
You took action with the Sarah Alpert GoFundMe. Is there any other action or anything you would do to help make actual change with fighter pay?
I think it's just talking about it and making it a point and giving other fighters and challenging other fighters to talk about it as well. And also, you know, things like this, like big movements like that, don't happen or don't change overnight. It's going to take years and years of consistency to actually see a difference. But if something wants to change, you have to start now and just attack it one by one.